There, welcome back to Askamy. I have a question today from Anne. Before I read Anne's question, I wanted to mention that the silent retreat that I'm hosting in February is going to take place in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So we've had to move it, unfortunately, from Asheville, North Carolina to Gatlinburg. But it's going to be an equally gorgeous mountain setting, and everything will be the same. It's just a little bit west. So check that out if you're interested in it. I have a lot of stuff coming out in the next few weeks about why someone would do this, the benefits. Like it's been so incredible for me, and it just really am feeling the truth in silence, the way that silence resolves everything and teaches us everything so much more than words and this kind of thing could ever teach. So check out my blog from last week. If you missed that, that's probably the best place to start, and I'll have more coming. All right, so Anne's question. So Anne says, I've been experiencing OCD more or less intense for 20 years. I'd say I've mostly learned to cope with intrusive thoughts, but still struggle with what feels like OCD impulses. I know you're kind of familiar with OCD, so it basically feels like my brain is giving me the impulse to do something that I really don't want to do because it doesn't align with my values. In situations that trigger those impulses, I feel like I have to be on high alert and control my behavior because I know that following the impulses clearly isn't what I want to do. But in other situations where I'm off guard, I know that I can be prone to just follow my impulse and do something harmless, like taking my phone, grabbing something to eat, etc. I know that ERP and other techniques teach to just accept uncertainty, but I feel like there has to be an easier way. I'm at a point where I know I do not identify with my thinking and my feelings, but I still feel like I have to guard myself to not be lured into acting on my thoughts and feelings. Do you have any insights on how a less controlled, more free approach on this could look? I feel like there's something I'm not seeing yet and would very much appreciate any fresh perspectives. Okay. So, Anne, something you said in here just jumps right out. So you say, and I'll say this, and I just want you to explore these things for yourself. So you say, I don't identify with my thoughts and feelings. I'm at a point where I do not identify with my thinking and my feelings, but I still feel like I have to guard myself to not be lured into acting on thoughts and feelings. Right there, like there's something right there that would just, I think this is the thing where you say there's something you're not quite seeing yet. I want you to really explore these things for yourself. And there's no right or wrong answers. And don't explore it from like a theoretical standpoint, from what someone else says or what you've learned about these things. Really look for yourself in your own experience. When you say, I don't identify with my thoughts and feelings, look into that. What does that mean? And it doesn't matter what you say. You don't have to write this down. You can share it with me, email me if you want, but you certainly don't have to. It's not about that. It's about you getting really curious. What does that even mean? I don't identify with my thoughts and feelings. How does that look to you? Where does it look like thought and feeling come from? Now, again, these are just questions for you to kind of sit in, but they're really big questions that can start to reveal a lot, because thought and feeling and my thoughts and feelings and my impulses and all of this are very abstract, and that's just how we talk. It's okay. Of course, you're going to say it that way, but they're abstractions, and they're massive they're very abstracted. So I want you to get in here. It's a little foreign sometimes, but get in here and see what you're even talking about for yourself. I don't identify with my thoughts and feelings. Okay, then how are they? Are they yours? Or is that just how language works? Do they feel like your thoughts and feelings? First of all, where are they coming from? Look and see. Can you see? Wait for the next thought or feeling to show up, and look to where it came from and see if you can determine anything. Where does it go? When it leaves, where does it go? Do you have any, is there any rhyme or reason to these? Do you Are you making them happen in any way? Are you influencing the thoughts and feelings that show up? Really get in there with that piece of it. So that's the piece again where you say you don't identify with them. And then equally so, maybe even more so, I want you to look at this other side where you say, but I still feel like I have to guard myself to not be lured into acting on my thoughts and feelings. So what's going on? Like, just kind of slow it down and come down in your experience and let a thought or feeling show up. I mean, they're going to happen anyway. Wait till the next thought or feeling shows up and see what's there that needs guarding against, and how do you guard yourself against it? Do these thoughts and feelings really need you to be guarded against them? Now, I'm not denying your experience at all. So your experience is there's some impulses, thoughts or feelings that show up, and then some actions are done. And it sounds like, at least in the past, they've been actions that you don't want to do, right? So I get that. Again, that's very abstracted. Come down in the nitty gritty of it and really see, like, okay, when this shows up, how does that make me act if I'm not guarded? What's going on there? And again, I don't expect you to have answers to these questions, but I want you to explore that right there, especially. What's going on that I feel like I have to guard, or else this thought or feeling is going to make me do this thing? But how is that happening? How is a thought or feeling making action happen? And again, can you guard yourself? And if you're doing that, how are you doing that? So there's just a lot in this that I think would be so helpful for you to really look at, to just get a little bit more clarity as to what's going on. Now, if you do that, if you explore this, and most of your answers are, I don't know, that would be normal. That would make sense, right? Like, and maybe they're not all, I don't know. Maybe you really find, like, you see the mechanism here or whatever, that's fine too. But if you happen to end up, just because I might not hear from you again, you're welcome to reach out. But if you end up with a bunch of, I don't know what that is. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how I'm guarding myself. That's very interesting. That's very interesting, because that's showing you now we're left in this, I have OCD, very abstracted label. It does this to me, but we're not sure how. I'm not my thoughts and feelings, but I have to guard against them, but I don't even know what that means, and it just keeps kind of showing, wow, what do I know? Maybe this isn't, showing up the way that, not that it's not showing up, but this isn't what my mind makes it to be. Maybe this isn't some impulse that needs my guarding because I don't even know how that's happening. It starts to really strip away a lot of the assumptions, and the assumptions are what kind of keep a lot of this stuff alive. The taking these abstractions as truths and kind of acting accordingly, or, not that we're doing that, but like, that's kind of the glue in this. So I want you to get to a place where you're asking questions that sound very weird, but that, where you're really kind of looking beneath the hood a little bit and seeing more about what's going on. And again, feel free to share that with me if you want, or come back if you discover some stuff and you have some more questions. But that's the tact I would take. Not getting comfortable with uncertainty. I mean, life is uncertain, but really seeing what the heck we're talking about here, because I feel like that would reveal a lot for you. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks for sending your question, Anne. You guys can send questions to askamy@thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I will see you next week.